Hey folks, it's Nate. Thanks for joining me at the art table again today. Today I want to talk about something I've been promising to get to for a while, namely, one of the most important aspects of collaboration as a creative endeavor. And when I say the most important aspects, I mean the most important aspect for you as a creator, not necessarily the most important part of coming together and creating something as a process. Like all creative processes, collaboration is going to depend a very great deal on the creators involved. Just as each creator tends to develop their own creative process that works best for them, the process of collaboration is going to grow very organically around the people who are involved in it. Since you don't generally know who you're going to be collaborating with until you begin that process, there's not much advice that can be offered to you as to how you should collaborate as a process until you are actually doing it. But that doesn't mean you can't begin developing some of the traits and skills that make collaboration easier right now. That is what I want to talk about today. Now, as you may have guessed from the illustration and the title of this video, the topic I want to broach today is confidence. Now, I don't mean confidence in the dating advice sense of just having a high opinion of yourself. Nor do I really mean confidence in the broad, general, mystical sense of knowing your place in the universe. Both of those things help. Rather, these are prerequisites for the kind of confidence you need to have in a collaboration. And that is confidence in the project you are working on and your role that you play in it. I will illustrate what I mean with a brief anecdote. Several years ago, I worked on a brief collaborative project that was brought about in Narwhal's Writer's Room podcast, a thing that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. The format was pretty simple. The audience would pitch story ideas, and then a panel of writers would attempt to develop them into a coherent, short, 6 to 10 page story, specifically a comic, as that's what we were interested in at the time. Now, I like writing and I like pitching stories, so I sat in on several of those sessions before I offered my services to write out and workshop one of the stories that the panel elected to develop. So I put together a draft of a basic script and I submitted it to the panel and we workshopped it, just like we were supposed to. But during the workshopping process, one of the other writers on the panel had that moment of inspiration where you come up with a new and quite interesting story idea which he proceeded to pitch to the panel and myself. It was a good idea, and I would say just as good as the story we were actually working on. He preferred this new idea to what we were currently working on, which is always true, by the way. You will always love your newest ideas more than your old ideas. It incorporated many of the basic ideas in the story we were currently working on, but it threw away the current antagonist and changed some other factors and the ultimate end of the story. I didn't care for that very much because I enjoyed the antagonist we were working with, and I thought it was a strong antagonist. Furthermore, changing the story changed the genre, and changed it from a genre that I enjoy quite a bit to one I am a little shakier on. Not that I don't think I couldn't write it, but I don't think I would have written it with the same enthusiasm that I had for the original script. While the panel was interested in exploring this new story direction, I was not. Since I wasn't sure I could develop this new story idea, I offered a couple of possibilities. I could step aside, and they could bring in a new writer to develop the new script idea. Or I could continue to develop the script idea we were working on, and someone else could develop the new idea in tandem. However, I did not want to work on the new story idea because I was sure I would not do it credit. I had come on board with the project under the impression I would be able to work on a story I knew I could do well, and I didn't want to run the risk of doing one I would do poorly. Ultimately, the group decided to stick to the project we were already working on and possibly develop the new idea later. I tell this story to illustrate four different aspects of confidence. First, my confidence in the project itself. Although a new idea was presented that was, as I said before, quite good, I had confidence that the project we were currently working on was just as good and deserved the opportunity to be brought to fruition. Second, I had confidence in my ability to write one story, but not another. This is actually two aspects of having confidence in your abilities in one. If you have a realistic, well-grounded confidence in your abilities, you will know what you can do to contribute to a collaboration and also what you cannot do. This is why I said earlier that having a good but not overinflated opinion of your abilities is a vital foundation for bringing confidence to the table in a collaboration. If you don't know where you are best suited to work, you can find yourself getting applied to tasks that aren't suited to you, rather than concentrating your efforts on those things you know you are best suited for. Both a lack of confidence in your abilities and an overestimation of your abilities can have this result. Either you will be wishy-washy on where you are best suited for and thus easily pushed into places where you function suboptimally, or you will be overconfident in your abilities and take on a bunch of tasks you are ill-suited for. Finally, I had confidence in knowing that even if this was not the opportunity for my contribution to the collaborative process, I would eventually have an opportunity to contribute, which I could take full advantage of when it arose. Thus, I was willing to step back from the project if that is what the rest of the panel deemed was necessary to go forward. When you approach the collaborative process with this kind of well-grounded and very measured confidence, you gain a number of distinct benefits. First, it aids in sorting people into the roles they are most suited for. Since everyone is confident in their abilities and can clearly share them with other people, it is much easier to determine the places where everyone is most suited. This kind of confidence also cuts down on second guessing because everyone has a certain base level understanding of how good their project is and who is best suited to execute on its strengths. Finally, this kind of confidence cuts down on interpersonal conflict because there will be less of a need to prove yourself or second guess the actions of others. Now, that doesn't eliminate any of these factors, of course. They are universal and stem from more factors than just confidence or a lack thereof. But approaching projects with a certain base level of confidence in yourself and your projects can mitigate the risk that you will run into some of these issues. Finally, although I would hope it goes without saying, let me close by pointing out that confidence, along with all the other collaborative tools we're going to talk about, are not a substitute for basic competence in the area in question. Whether it be art, writing, or some other creative process, if you lack the basic foundational knowledge of what you're doing, you won't be able to make grounded assessments of your abilities or the projects to begin with. So any confidence you have will not be well-founded. You cannot join a collaborative group to make up for your own lack of creative ability. You're going to have to bring those abilities up before you can collaborate with others effectively. That said, if you do have the basic abilities, collaboration is fun, and it's a great way to grow your abilities by sharpening them against the abilities of others. You can learn new techniques, you can learn new approaches, and you can get a lot of valuable feedback that will help you get an objective view of where your own abilities stand. So hopefully, this has prepared you to go into collaborative projects with others with a little more confidence. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. There's a like button and a subscribe button down there. You can use those as you see fit, and I will talk to you later.